Peace. What's good, y'all? It's the early show. It's 10:14 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's day number 18 in the month of July. Of course, the year is 2013, and we're on a Thursday. I'm not thirsty. I'm Friday. No, I'm just playing. But I do appreciate you tuning in. We'll do our best to keep it brief. This particular subject, and I'm glad you tuned into it because it's of the utmost importance. This is one of those ones that really tests the limits of the power of the human mind. This is a story that's really deep, and this whole venture of pimp.com is basically a learning experience to compare what people believe is the truth versus what actually may in fact be different due, due to your own witnessing, your own first-hand eyewitness account. So I'm just gonna leave that on the table for those who are interested. You can look at the article and the information above this video on pimphop.com to get a feel of what I'm talking about. So this kind of stuff is somewhat difficult to explain, but really it's more of a challenge of determining exactly how this type of information is to be given to the public. When you hear me mention P True Hollywood Stories, that's because that's an actual fact. I've got numerous uh, notepads and just stuff in my mind to figure out how exactly that message or that story is to get out to you. Should it come out in a movie? Should it come out in a TV show? Should it come out on the internet, on YouTube? I mean, how should it come out? How should we get that exact message to you? And should we actually get it out to you to begin with? But in actuality, however, is getting out. What you see is what you get. So the story is getting out, but I think it might help some to understand the magnitude of the story. Call it the search for the Holy Grail, so to speak. So one of the things that I do personally have to go through on a continuous basis is people out on the outside looking in, maybe watching TV, will come to a conclusion, maybe with their friends, and say, well, Pimp Hop, that's cool. Hip Hop magazine, what have I heard? Hip Hop, some old pimpin' hoe, whatever people want to call it. And I guess they consider it as beneath them because their actual biggest, highest aspiration is Hollywood. Amongst the stars, they want to get into acting. They want to get into the limelight, television. Big time, multi-million dollar, real true life celebrity. Like maybe even a Kardashian, which interestingly enough is actually out here too. But the moral of the story is that it's a real challenge trying to explain it, and I have to soul search and figure out if it should be explained because, like they say, what's understood really requires no explanation. So maybe that's the most appropriate switch we're going to need to make. But anyway, the story has to come out in regards to the magnitude of what it is that is being displayed, which what I would consider the truth. And I do appreciate you tuning in to give it some consideration as far as matters like these. But it's actually a true story in the same way that everybody knows about Playboy and Marilyn Monroe, and how Marilyn Monroe was primarily responsible for kicking off that whole publication and its impact that it's had on society. And the story is that Hugh Hefner had these outside of the box ideas for his time in the 50s, and he actually couldn't find very many people to go along with the idea. Same as today, most people in the world are followers, and they're only going to do what they see other people do, which will require somebody to make it socially acceptable. But he actually had a photographer friend. He said, "Hey, if I know a girl that'll get the job done, she looks to do crazy stuff like this." And he said, "Really? Who?" He said, "There's this movie star that I work with. Her name is Marilyn Monroe out in Hollywood." And Hefner said, "Oh, I've heard of her. If you think you can get her to do this, well, let's get it done." One thing led to another, and boom, now you have Playboy. But the interesting fact that most people don't know is that Hugh Hefner actually never met Marilyn Monroe in actual life, in the flesh. Let me repeat. Hugh Hefner never met Marilyn Monroe, who was on the first cover of Playboy, in actual life, in the flesh. Believe it or not, True Hollywood story. But as evident by this image that's up on pimphop.com as far as who she did meet and know in person, even though the picture was buried for some odd reason in the archives of the dressmaker and came out in 2009, and now for some reason that article has kind of been wiped over. It hasn't been wiped over for us because it's a life exploration to figure out the dynamics as to why that actually is, which I can't say, but again, it's about the best way to communicate that. So I'm just going to put that on the table for today. We got an early start, much to do, but like I said, we're building the plane while it's in flight. But a victory, peace.